Hello everyone, welcome back to another edition of Indie Book Review, where today I am reviewing Scavenged by Scott Arbuckle. I feel kind of bad actually for taking so long to do this review, mostly because he had originally sent me a physical copy, but due to the mail just kind of holding on to it in customs for so long, and then me having to move, I didn't actually get the copy. I ended up having to buy it on Kindle, which, that's fine, that's whatever. But he did go out of his way to send me a physical copy, and I do feel bad for taking so long to get it done. But it's here. It's here. So we'll go forward with this. And yeah. Scott, if you're watching this review, I'm sorry it took so long. So, what is Scavenged about? Well, basically it's about this kid, Orion, and he basically gets experimented on by these aliens and becomes like this big cyborg guy. Well, not big cyborg guy, but he becomes a cyborg. And then there's this girl, Lyra, who is a psionic, and they're basically wanting to destroy the aliens. Lyra gets kidnapped. Orion's whole thing is he wants to go and save her. And there's also this cigarette-smoking mercenary named Ariga. I think that's his name. And he's got a whole thing going on. Now, I'm going to be perfectly honest. Books with teenage characters are a little bit of a hit or miss for me. I really get tired of just... I think most of it's just because I get really tired of seeing it all the time. Teenage characters are just kind of frustrating. These characters, not so much, but I found that there was a really good balance between the teenage Orion and the adult Ariga. And that really did help get through the book. And also, Orion doesn't really act like a typical teenager. Him having to grow up in kind of like a alien-controlled wasteland made him have to grow up very quickly. And him being experimented on and being turned into a cyborg definitely didn't help. And I think one thing that definitely really helped is that the adult did have... Actually, I think he took more of the book than the kids did. Which, frankly, I'm really happy about. And I think mostly because his story was just that little bit more interesting. I mean, yeah, Orion got turned into a cyborg, but his motivation after that was destroy aliens. Ariga, he's really testing his own loyalties and figuring out where he needs to go and who he's able to trust and all this other stuff. I just found his story just that much more interesting, just that much more compelling, and the fact that he took up almost, I'm pretty sure, the majority of the book, or at least was in the majority of the book, whether or not he's with Orion or not, is kind of really awesome. And yeah, like I said before, Orion having to pretty much be grown up, even though he is a teenager, it comes off, it's very realistic to me. It felt very real because he wasn't acting like a typical 16-year-old. Yeah, he's very hormonal, and yeah, one of his biggest motivations was save Lyra and destroy aliens. But, I mean, in a lot of cases, that's somehow a lot of other people's motivations as well. And especially because the aliens want to use Orion as kind of like a speaking tool, as kind of a way to talk to the humans as well, because they seem to have a whole different means of communication. At least if I remember right. I read this book back in, like, April, so I'm not going to go into like details, but I do remember a lot of what goes on in this book, and that's impressive to me. If a book sticks with me, especially in terms of some details, I like that. I think the other major character of note is there's a female scientist doctor, and her loyalty seems to be wherever she needs it to be. And this is me trying to remember it. I remember the character. I remember Ariga being in league with her, at least choosing to be in league with her. The details are a little fuzzy, I'm sorry. And I also remember the primary speaker for the aliens, and them trying to take him down, and there's a whole thing that went on with there, and a whole battle that went on there. That was actually really fun to read. This book was fun, especially for a YA book. And like I said, teenage characters are not my thing. YA is most certainly not my thing. This one definitely did a good job. This one definitely kept me going. It kept me interested, and I was delightfully impressed with how much I did enjoy this one. And I think another thing that really impressed me was how much actually happens in this book, despite it really only being 260 pages. And hell, it's not even just like the number of stuff that happens, it's how much happens and can considerably be enjoyable and followable. Like, I find a lot of books that are about this length but have a lot of things that happen. It's kind of a bang, 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 bang. But in a lot of cases, yeah, there's a lot of action in this book, but there are also a lot of points where things slow down and the characters have a chance to breathe and talk, and it does very well with its characters, and it does very well with its story and its pacing. So, especially for only being 260 pages, it did a really good job of that. And I think another thing that really impressed me was how much actually happens in this book, despite it really only being 260 pages. And hell, it's not even just like the number of stuff that happens, it's how much happens and can considerably be enjoyable and followable. Like, I find a lot of books that are about this length but have a lot of things that happen. It's kind of a bang, 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 bang. But in a lot of cases, yeah, there's a lot of action in this book, but there are also a lot of points where things slow down and the characters have a chance to breathe and talk, and it does very well with its characters, and it does very well with its story and its pacing. So, especially for only being 260 pages, it did a really good job of that. So all in all, I'm going to give Scavenged by Scott Arbuckle an 8 out of 10. And it's not like the book did anything wrong. It's not losing points because the book did anything wrong. It's losing points because I don't think it was able to do enough. Because the book is YA, I don't think it was capable of going near far enough in doing what it could potentially have done. I think it could have been a little bit more brutal. It could have been a little bit more bloody. It could have had a little bit higher stakes in that sense. But because it's YA, I feel like the story just kind of got held back a little bit, where you really could have seen what Orion's new cyborg body could have been capable of. You could have seen just how battle scarred and hardened Auriga could have been, or just the absolute horrific capabilities of a psionic. I think it just could have gone that little step extra if it wasn't YA. And I think it's YA. Well, I'm not going to speculate why something is YA because, well, that's not really for me to say. But yeah, I just think it could have gone just that little bit further. But all in all, like, it really was a good read, and I really, really did enjoy this one. So, 8 out of 10, that's a good score. But that's all I got for you folks. So, have a good one.